moves to ease restrictions on blood donations for men who have sex with men. Heading Level 1. Rob Stein, NPR, Link, and Will Stone, NPR. January 27, 2023 2:59 p.m. Toby Talbot/AP, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued proposed guidance Friday to ease restrictions on blood donations by men who have sex with men. The change is expected to take effect after a public comment period. Restrictions on donating blood date back to the early days of the AIDS epidemic and were designed to protect the blood supply from HIV. Originally, gay and bisexual men were completely prohibited from donating blood. Over time, the FDA relaxed the lifetime ban, but still kept in place some limits. Under the current policy, last updated in 2020, men who have sex with men can donate blood if they haven't had sexual contact with other men for 3 months. The new proposed policy would eliminate the time-based restrictions on men who have sex with men and their female partners, and instead screen potential donors' eligibility based on a series of questions that assess their HIV risk. Regardless of gender, anyone taking medications to treat or prevent HIV, including PrEP, would not be eligible. The risk assessment would include questions about anal sex. Potential donors who've had anal sex in the last 3 months with a new sexual partner or more than one sexual partner would not be eligible to give blood. The changes are aimed at addressing criticism that the current policy is discriminatory and outdated, as well as one more barrier to bolstering the nation's blood supply. Blood banks already routinely screen donated blood for HIV. We are moving now to an inclusive policy for blood donation, said Dr. Peter Marks, who leads the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research at the FDA during a briefing Friday. We will continue to work to make sure that we have policies that allow everyone who wants to donate blood to be able to donate blood within what the science allows to make sure that the blood supply remains safe. In crafting the new guidance, the FDA has been looking to the results of a study of about 1,600 gay and bisexual men to develop screening questions that can identify potential donors who are most likely to be infected with HIV. Reaction to the news from advocates, medical groups and blood banks has been positive. The blood community is very excited about the proposed changes, says Kate Fry, CEO of America's Blood Centers. We have advocated for a decade now for a move to an individual risk assessment model. So this is very welcomed by blood centers across the country. She stressed that all donated blood is carefully screened for HIV and that testing has improved dramatically to ensure the safety of the blood supply. For many years, the American Medical Association, the American Red Cross and LGBTQ+ advocacy groups have pushed for a change to the federal rules on blood donations. These changes are 40+ years in the making and they're a tremendous leap forward in elevating science over stigma, said Toni Morrison, a spokesperson for the advocacy group GLAAD. But GLAAD and other groups say the changes still don't go far enough. They argue that some of the remaining restrictions are still unnecessary and stigmatizing, such as the prohibition against donations by people taking medication PrEP to prevent HIV. When we limit and defer people who are being proactive in their sexual health, that stigmatizes them. The misconception is that people on PrEP are promiscuous or have a higher risk of HIV infection. That's categorically false, says Morrison. So his group will continue to lobby the FDA to further ease restrictions. The proposed changes in the blood donation rules will be open for public comment for 60 days. The FDA will then review those comments and issue a final rule, probably later this year. So monogamous gay men could start donating blood again sometime in 2023. Copyright 2023 NPR.
Isaiah 1:18. Come now, and let us reason together, saith unto the Lord. Though sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
Genesis, chapter 18. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lift up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree, and I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on. For therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said,
So do as thou hast said.
And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah, and said,
Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth.
And Abraham ran unto the herd, and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. And they said unto him,
Where is Sarah thy wife?
And he said,
Behold, in the tent.
And he said,
I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son.
And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying,
After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also?
And the Lord said unto Abraham,
Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
Then Sarah denied, saying,
I loved not.
for she was afraid. And he said,
Nay, but thou didst laugh.
And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said,
Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him.
And the Lord said,
Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now, and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it which is come unto me. And if not, I will know.
And the men turned their faces from thence, and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near, and said,
Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?
And the Lord said,
If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes.
And Abraham answered and said,
Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5?
And he said,
If I find there 45, I will not destroy it.
And he spake unto him yet again, and said,
Peradventure there shall be 40 found there.
And he said,
I will not do it for 40's sake.
And he said unto him,
Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure there shall 30 be found there.
And he said,
I will not do it if I find 30 there.
And he said,
Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure there shall be 20 found there.
And he said,
I will not destroy it for 20's sake.
And he said,
Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there.
And he said,
I will not destroy it for 10's sake.
And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. Genesis chapter 19. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said,
Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet. And ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways.
And they said,
Nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him,
Where are these men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them.
And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said,
I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold now, I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof.
And they said,
Stand back.
And they said again,
This one fellow came in to sojourn. Ha! And he will needs be a judge. Now, will we deal worse with thee than with them?
And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand, and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot,
Hast thou here any besides? Son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it.
And Lot went out, and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said,
Up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city.
But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying,
Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth, and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said,
Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed.
And Lot said unto them,
Oh, not so, my lord. Behold now, thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold now, this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live.
And he said unto him,
See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city, for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither.
Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham gat up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt. And Lot went up out of Zoar, and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him.